The football world woke up buzzing because whispers that once felt impossible suddenly feel tangible, almost cinematic, as the idea of a trade between the Patriots and the Colts starts to sound less like fantasy and more like a carefully staged revelation. In the middle of this storm stands Jonathan Kraft, portrayed as a quiet architect pulling levers behind the scenes, surprising even seasoned insiders who believe they had seen every possible move from this organization. The rumors suggest that conversations have been ongoing in shadows, framed as casual check-ins, but slowly gaining weight as both franchises explored new identities. Fans are reacting not with certainty, but with that delicious uncertainty that fuels sports talk shows and comment sections. The Patriots, often associated with discipline and long-term planning, appear to be leaning into a bold reset, and the Colts seem willing to gamble on reshaping their future narrative. Nothing here feels accidental, and that is what makes the story so compelling. The name Riley Leonard enters the discussion like a spark, instantly igniting debates about fit, potential, and risk. This is not being framed as a simple transaction, but as a philosophical exchange of direction. It feels like a moment designed to redefine legacies rather than just rosters. As the speculation deepens, the Patriots' perspective becomes the center of the conversation, because the idea of them closing a deal for Riley Leonard suggests a willingness to embrace uncertainty in exchange for upside. Around league circles, the story being whispered is that New England saw something others hesitated to fully commit to, a blend of leadership traits and raw athletic promise that fits a long view rather than immediate gratification. The narrative being spun is not about instant dominance, but about crafting a new arc that fans can grow into season by season. Jonathan Kraft is depicted as the calm voice in the room, balancing tradition with the need to evolve, convincing skeptics that standing still would be more dangerous than making noise. For the Patriots faithful, this rumor lands like a challenge, asking them to trust a process that may look unfamiliar. Analysts speculate that internal evaluations painted Riley Leonard as a player who thrives when expectations are heavy, someone who could symbolize a cultural bridge between eras. The trade with the Colts, in this telling, is less about what was given up and more about what was envisioned. It is a bet on narrative momentum, on changing the conversation around the franchise's future. From the Colts' angle, the rumor carries a different emotional weight, one that speaks to recalibration rather than rebuilding. Insiders frame Indianapolis as a team unafraid to move pieces if it means clarifying their long-term direction. The idea of sending assets to New England is being described as a strategic surrender of one storyline to fully commit to another. Around locker room chatter and fan podcasts, the talk is that the Colts wanted flexibility, clarity, and perhaps relief from expectations that no longer align with their internal roadmap. This speculative trade is portrayed as mutual recognition that both sides needed change, even if that change would initially feel uncomfortable. The Colts, often cast as pragmatic, are rumored to have valued what they received not just in talent, but in opportunity. By stepping away from the Riley Leonard experiment, they open space for a different identity to emerge. This narrative paints them as self-aware rather than desperate, a franchise choosing control over chaos. In this version of events, nobody is a loser, only participants in a larger reshuffling of power and perception. What makes this rumor especially captivating is how naturally it fits into the broader mythos of the league, where power shifts quietly before anyone notices. Jonathan Kraft's name keeps resurfacing in these conversations, not as a loud executive, but as a symbol of continuity meeting boldness. The story suggests he understood the optics of such a move, knowing it would send shockwaves precisely because it contradicted expectations. Patriots fans are rumored to be split, some embracing the mystery of Riley Leonard, others clinging to familiar ideals of stability. Yet that tension is exactly what fuels engagement, and insiders claim the organization anticipated this reaction. The Colts, meanwhile, are framed as quietly satisfied, believing they extracted value that outsiders might not immediately appreciate. This is why the rumor persists, because it feels layered and intentional rather than impulsive. Every leak seems designed to test public reaction, to gauge whether the narrative lands as visionary or reckless. The absence of official clarity only amplifies the drama, turning every mention into content. In this speculative space, the trade becomes a mirror reflecting how fans feel about risk, loyalty, and evolution. As the conversation rolls on, the focus increasingly shifts toward what Riley Leonard represents symbolically for New England. He is not just a player in this rumor, but a vessel for hope, skepticism, and projection. Commentators imagine how his presence could reshape the locker room dynamic, how his style might influence future decisions, and how patience would be tested. The Patriots are portrayed as aware that this move could redefine their public image, pushing them away from nostalgia and toward possibility. Jonathan Kraft, in these tellings, is credited with understanding that modern fandom thrives on storylines as much as success. The Colts, conversely, are framed as comfortable letting go of that storyline to pursue quieter growth. This speculative exchange, thus, becomes a lesson in contrasting philosophies. One side embraces the spotlight of uncertainty. The other steps back to recalibrate. Fans dissect every angle, from leadership implications to marketing resonance, treating the rumor as a puzzle rather than a fact. The longer it circulates, the more it feels inevitable, as if reality is simply catching up to speculation. That sense of inevitability is what keeps the rumor alive and evolving. In the larger landscape of the league, this rumored trade is being discussed as a potential inflection point, not because of immediate impact, but because of what it signals. Patriots observers argue that the franchise is redefining how it approaches transitions, leaning into bold storytelling rather than quiet replacement. The Colts are painted as equally intentional, choosing a different rhythm that prioritizes internal alignment. Jonathan Kraft's involvement is repeatedly highlighted as proof that ownership vision still matters in shaping competitive identity. Riley Leonard's arrival, in this narrative, becomes a statement that the Patriots are willing to be judged on future promise instead of past comfort. The rumor thrives because it touches emotional nerves across fan bases, stirring excitement and anxiety in equal measure. Every podcast, every video breakdown adds another layer to the myth. Whether confirmed or denied, the story has already done its work by forcing conversations about direction and courage. That is the power of speculation when it feels plausible, purposeful, and perfectly timed to capture the imagination of a league always hungry for its next defining chapter. The speculation does not slow down as attention turns to how this rumored exchange could ripple outward, influencing decisions beyond the two franchises directly involved. Around the league, the chatter frames this move as a signal that established teams are no longer content with incremental change. The Patriots, often associated with patience and tradition, are suddenly cast as disruptors willing to challenge their own image. Jonathan Kraft is portrayed as understanding that relevance in modern football requires adaptability, even if it invites criticism. The Colts, by contrast, are framed as selective, choosing which battles to fight and which narratives to release. Riley Leonard's name continues to dominate thumbnails and headlines, not because of guaranteed outcomes, but because of the open-ended possibilities he represents. Fans from other teams watch closely, reading between the lines, wondering if similar boldness could appear in their own organizations. This is how rumors gain gravity, by extending beyond their origin and becoming reference points. The absence of official confirmation keeps imagination in control, allowing each audience to project its own hopes or fears. In this space, the trade is less about logistics and more about momentum, about who dares to write the next chapter instead of rereading old ones. From a storytelling perspective, the Patriots' rumored acquisition of Riley Leonard is being framed as a narrative reset that acknowledges the weight of history without being trapped by it. Commentators speculate that the organization saw an opportunity to redefine leadership tone, energy, and public perception in a single move. Jonathan Kraft's supposed role adds intrigue, suggesting that this was not merely a football decision, but a brand and culture calculation. The Colts, meanwhile, are painted as quietly confident, trusting their internal evaluations over external noise. Letting go of Leonard is depicted not as loss, but as liberation from a storyline that no longer aligned with their trajectory. Fans dissect every rumored detail, from personality fit to long-term flexibility, turning speculation into analysis. This constant examination keeps the rumor alive, evolving with each retelling. It becomes less about whether the trade happened and more about why it makes sense in theory. That theoretical alignment is what convinces many that the whispers hold truth. When logic and imagination intersect so cleanly, disbelief becomes harder to sustain. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. As the discussion matures, attention shifts toward potential locker room implications, another fertile ground for speculation. The Patriots are rumored to believe that Riley Leonard brings a presence capable of resonating with both veterans and younger players, a bridge figure in a transitional era. Jonathan Kraft is depicted as valuing this intangible impact, seeing leadership as a currency as important as performance. The Colts side of the rumor emphasizes cohesion, suggesting they preferred a different voice to guide their roster forward. This contrast feeds the narrative that both teams acted in alignment with self-knowledge rather than impulse. Fans debate whether such alignment truly exists or is retroactively applied to justify bold moves. Yet the rumor persists because it feels emotionally coherent. Each piece fits into a broader story about identity and evolution. Analysts frame it as a chess move rather than a gamble, implying foresight instead of desperation. The lack of concrete detail allows every angle to remain plausible. In this ambiguity, the trade takes on a mythic quality, growing more compelling with each retelling, regardless of eventual confirmation. The longer this speculation circulates, the more it becomes a case study in how modern sports narratives are built. The Patriots and Colts are no longer just teams in this story, but characters representing philosophies. Jonathan Kraft symbolizes calculated boldness, while the Colts front office embodies measured restraint. Riley Leonard, caught between them, becomes a symbol of possibility, his potential amplified by uncertainty. Fans engage not just as spectators, but as co-authors, filling gaps with their own interpretations. This collaborative storytelling is what transforms rumor into phenomenon. Each discussion thread, each video monologue, reinforces the sense that something significant has shifted. Even skeptics admit that the logic behind the move feels sound, which only fuels further debate. The trade, real or not, has already influenced perception. It has reframed how both franchises are discussed, nudging narratives in new directions. That alone gives the rumor power, proving that in sports, belief often matters as much as fact. As this speculative saga continues, the emotional response becomes just as important as the strategic analysis. Patriots fans oscillate between excitement and caution, aware that embracing Riley Leonard means embracing uncertainty. The Colts supporters, on the other hand, are rumored to be processing relief mixed with curiosity, trusting that the organization knows where it is headed. Jonathan Kraft's perceived confidence reassures some while unsettling others, a sign that leadership decisions rarely unify opinion. This tension keeps the story alive because it mirrors the broader experience of fandom itself. Every retelling emphasizes different angles, ensuring the rumor never feels stale. It adapts, evolving with each new perspective added to the conversation. Whether viewed as visionary or risky, the trade speculation has already achieved cultural traction. It has sparked imagination, debate, and emotional investment, which are the lifeblood of sports media. In that sense, the story has succeeded regardless of outcome. It has reminded everyone that football is not just about plays on the field, but about narratives that shape how those plays are remembered. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.